Good morning. This is Jason Dean at Film Fanatic. Got a new video coming your way. So, yeah, in light of what I've been mentioning in some of the other videos, the uh, newer way that I'm kind of doing the video and trying to upload and do a bunch of new videos for Film Fanatic has gotten a lot easier. I got a little bit of a better setup now. I have, I got a microphone that's pretty decent, pretty good, and I got my laptop. So, and my schedule now is a lot easier the way I'm kind of doing uh, as far as the timing for when I can do the videos. I've been cranking them out, trying to crank them out. Been doing like one every other day, or there was a week I was doing one a day. So it's been a lot of fun. I've been sitting on a lot of movies and reviews of movies I've been really wanting to get to for a while, and I just didn't quite have the time to do it, and the setup that I had was a little bit more limited. So I feel like the setup now is a lot easier, and I think the quality's better, at least from what people have been saying. And I'm trying to build up the YouTube channel, and it's a lot easier to upload the videos for when I do a video, and then also to be able to share it to my pages. And also the quality. I feel like the quality control is a lot better. So I appreciate everybody's feedback for these videos. This is still a really new thing for me, and it's been a lot of fun. And I'm looking forward to keep cranking these out. Like I said, I have a bunch that I had been wanting to get to, but due to some limitations with time and some of the technology I was using, didn't really didn't really work out. So now it's a lot easier, so I can start cranking them out, and I'm gonna keep pumping these out. And if you can like the page, the YouTube channel that we have, it's Jason Dean, and it's all my Film Fanatic stuff. All my Fanatic videos are up there. There's also a few quantum videos from the past few years. There's even a couple from when we first started on there, but the more recent ones are pretty good quality. So I've been actively doing that more, and I'm in the process of getting hopefully another show recorded of quantum where it will be more of a full show, and of a recent, hopefully of an upcoming show coming up maybe in uh, at the end of this month, or probably at this point September. So fingers crossed if that will work out, because I have a friend, John Luft, who is a pretty fabulous guy. I play in a band with him with Electric Bonfire, but he's got a really great knack for recording video and audio. So he's gonna, hopefully at some point be able to record one of our shows, that we have, uh, trying to book a few more into September. We got a few other events, and actually today we have a show at Lulu's. We have a quantum show at Lulu's today at 3 o'clock on Oak Street, and that's a really fun place to play. It's a pretty mellow setting, but we have a lot of fun, and we actually had our CD release show there in June, and that's been great. That really helped us, get the sales going for the new record, In Dreams I Saw, Chapter 1. And it was our first album in almost 4 years, which is hard to believe. And we also have another album, a part two or a sequel to that album, that's all recorded and mastered and ready to go. So at some point we'll release that. But this year and this summer we've been just concentrating on, trying to stay active and develop the sound like we try to always do, and have fun, and push ourselves a little bit. And the main focus has been around this album that came out in June. So we'll see when that will be, as far as a future release date for the chapter 2 of In Dreams I Saw, which is another full length album, and it has about 7 songs on it. It might be a little bit shorter than the first album. The first album came out to about maybe an hour and 10 or 15 minutes. this new album that this other or the second album that we have, the part two, is a little shorter, but it's got about 7 tunes on it, so pretty happy with it. We recorded both of the albums at the same time, and we just realized after a while that we had accumulated a lot of material that we were pretty excited about. So we just went ahead and recorded everything that we had, and we felt that was ready to go. We had, luckily, before we did the recording sessions, we had, rehearsed the tunes a lot during leading up to the recording session. We recorded it in December, or actually no, January of this year, which is hard to believe. Time just goes by so darn quick. But we recorded the albums in January of this year of 2022, and then it was released in June. And and then before that, we were lucky and really fortunate to have played a lot of gigs last summer and into the fall and into the winter. So that helped us kind of get our legs underneath us as far as getting the material really ready for recording. So yeah, so stay tuned for that. That won't be for quite a while. And so today, yeah, we're playing at Oak Street at 3 o'clock. If you're around, come check it out. And also the other thing that happened was we are scheduled to play. It's a private party, but it can be a thing that we can invite folks to, and we have originally it was going to be in September, but now it's going to be actually this Sunday. But a good musician friend that I know, very talented, AC Davis, who's from Austin, Texas. He always has these festivals every year. I think he's had it. This is like the seventh one he's had, and he usually does it. It's always on a Sunday, and it's always like kind of the end of the summer, kind of an end of the summer festival. And he has a bunch of different bands, and we had been asked to do it once or twice before, and we hadn't been able to do it as Quantum, but we are able to do it this year. And originally the show was going to be in September, but due to some confusion, the show is actually this Sunday, and we're going to be playing at this festival. I think we might be the last band because of the time and the date switch, but we're going to be playing around 7 o'clock, and it's going to be in Owl's Head. So yeah, if you check out this video and have any questions, I can send you the address, and it'll be a good time. It's going to be an all-day thing. It starts at 1 o'clock, and he's going to have a food truck, and there's going to be, I think, 5 to 6 bands. So, and there's going to be a big kind of like jam session, because a lot of the people there are also musicians, so there'll be some kind of jam session like midday, like an open mic kind of scenario. So should be fun. I'm excited. And he has the whole thing set up to where it's there's a house sound system, and all the equipment is there. So basically people just gotta like plug in and load in, and which would help with, or should help with, like changeovers for the bands and all those kinds of things. So yeah, that'll be this Sunday. And if you check out this video and you're interested, message me or email me, or message me through Jason Dean, my profile, personal page, or through Film Fanatic for the address or any other details. So cool, thank you. And the other thing I'm super excited about, which I just started posting, I just started promoting it the other day, is we have another Quantum show at my friend's house. Daniel Richmond and Jillian Reed are both having a party on September 3rd. It's going to be during the day. It's a Saturday, September 3rd, and it's going to start at 2 o'clock. And it's a party, like an open air party, and we're going to be playing at that, and that's going to be a public event. And it's going to be right next door to River Ducks, which is the ice cream place in Camden, which is a real famous place. And it overlooks the walking bridge. That's the footbridge that's right there, and there's the water is also there, and it's all so we're going to be set up right next to that. And River Ducks is like one of the more popular ice cream places here in Camden. So we're going to be setting up on the deck overlooking that, and it's going to be 2 o'clock on September 3rd. It's a Saturday. So if you get a chance to come by, check that out. That'll be a blast. The thing about it, the most that I'm most excited about is that my friend Halsey is going to be making his debut as with his own solo band called Halsey, which is basically a one man solo show of just really killer electronic music. It's in the vein. He's an amazing bass player, so he'll be playing live bass. Lots of cool. He has an amazing collection of really great synths and drum machines. So he's basically going to be doing a one man show, and a lot of the stuff has a real Thundercat kind of vibe. If anybody's familiar with Thundercat, who's like one of the most amazing musicians on the planet, he so all the music has a real. It's very electronic based, but it also has a real like kind of modern urban kind of hip hop sound, and it's killer stuff. So Halsey will be making his debut as far as performing out in public on this at this show, and so I'm really really excited for that. So come on down to that, and that's going to be that's a public event, and it's on Facebook now, and we'll be doing some heavy lifting as far as promotion goes in the next couple of days and the next couple of weeks leading up to the show. So yeah, this should be a great time. So yeah, this brings me to something I've been wanting, or a movie I've been wanting to talk about for a super long time. I had posted um, a review of this film probably about 2 years ago, and I wasn't, for whatever reasons, I had kind of forgot. It was something I had been wanting to do a review for like a long time, because this is a movie that really made a heavy duty impression on me when I was, in middle school when it came out, and also in high school. This was like a movie that I used to watch all the time, and it's Alyssa Milano, the actress Alyssa Milano, most well known for Who's the Boss, and the name of the movie is Embrace of the Vampire. And if anybody doesn't know who Alyssa Milano is, it could be a generational thing, but gener my part of my youth was like one of the shows I used to watch as a kid was Who's the Boss with Tony Danza, and Alyssa Milano was the star, and it was her first like TV show basically. And it's like it was a really bad kind of sitcom, kind of a terrible show, but it was fun, and Tony Danza was really funny, and it was a regular sitcom TV show that I watched in my youth, and at that time I really I got, as far as movies go, I was really into horror films at that point. And when I saw that she had the show had ended, Who's the Boss had kind of ended, ran its course, she started to try to make it as an actress, and wasn't a very successful run. She was in a lot of pretty bad movies in the early '90s, Embrace of the Vampire, and also I think she was in Poison Ivy, the sequel, which was a movie that the original was also starred um, Drew Barrymore, and I believe that Alyssa Milano was in the sequel of that, and she was in a bunch of other movies that were these like super low budget knockoff kind of exploitation movies that were made in the '90s that were just pretty awful, and but she was kind of my first love as far as actresses on screen. She immensely attractive and just beautiful, and she was the first I remember as a kid watching watching Who's the Boss. She was like the first actress I was just like head over heels for, and she was drop dead gorgeous and everything, and she had this appeal to her that was super fun, and she had a real big loyal fan base for a lot of teenage boys back then. So and she's still incredibly attractive. So when I heard that this movie, or when I saw this movie, This was, I think, this might have been the first movie she did after she left Who's the Boss, or that TV show ended, and it's a vampire movie. It was then it was supposed to be a real contemporary, modern vampire movie, and it is something else. It came out in 1995, and it's like an indie, super 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 low budget uh, vampire movie, and it was directed by Anne Goussard, and it was distributed by New Line Cinema. And I'm always surprised. There was another movie I did a review on, which the name escapes me now. That was also a really super low budget kind of cult movie, but it ended up getting distribution from New Line Cinema, which is like a major company. They started out. They were probably most well known for at the time for releasing and distributing the Nightmare on Elm Street films, which were iconic films, and they still are. And those were huge commercial blockbusters, and they became a major player in the world of Hollywood after that. And I also believe too, like as far as relatively more recent times, New Line Cinema was also responsible for Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings movies, the at least the first three, the good ones, Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship, Two Towers, and Return of the King. I believe those were all also released through New Line Cinema, and those were mega star-studded movies and huge commercial successes, blockbuster movies. So I always found it I found it really wild that they also worked on these films that were like really bad, and they distributed these movies that were like in comparison to the budget of say Lord of the Rings, you know you you couldn't even really mention it in the same sentence because they're so lowbrow. But again, going back to the world of cult movies or B movies or exploitation films, a lot of the times having these films having such low budgets, I feel like actually uh, adds such a cool element to the film as far as giving it this interesting grittiness and this real fun aspect to the film. So, and this is definitely one of them. I remember seeing this as a kid, and it just was like I couldn't believe it. It was just like I was already enamored with vampire films at the time, totally in love with Alyssa Milano, and I couldn't believe it. And it was also, truth be told, it was the first movie I saw that had um, a lesbian lead. There's numerous scenes in this film where Alyssa Milano um, is with these various women, and there was also there's also like full frontal nudity in the film, and there's quite a few scenes of where she basically has sex or makes love to other women. And so at that age when I saw it, the age of like maybe 11 or 12, it just I was in middle school I think when I first saw it. Before, right, probably it was probably right before I went to high school, so it just like blew my mind. Alyssa Milano, this goddess, was now doing these like vampire movies where she was, having these lesbian scenes and full frontal nudity, and it was amazing. It just blew my mind. And I used to watch it. I remember recording it. It was on cable a lot, and I remember recording it on VHS as a kid, and I used to watch it all the time. And it was an obsession of mine, and it was just such a trip. And and then like a few years ago, I was at Goodwill. I think it was in Goodwill in Rockland, and I hadn't seen it since I was a kid, and I found this on DVD, and I was like, oh my god! So I picked it up right away, and it was like $2. And I've seen it quite a few times since then. I probably bought it about 3 years ago, and it really is a it's it's kind of an unwatchable movie in some ways. It's so bad. It's like it's unbelievable. The acting in it is just like so horrible. The direction is so horrible. Um, but the lesbian scenes, the seduction scenes, and Alyssa Milano are just amazing in it. And it's so dated. It's like one of the most dated movies I've ever seen. But again, it's one of those things, and I kind of consider, you know, this movie, Embrace of the Vampire, to be, even though it's like a later period, I think as a genre or movies that you might want to put under that umbrella or that could fit under that umbrella as far as like cult movies, exploitation movies, grindhouse movies, things that kind of fit in that sleazy kind of box. I kind of consider Embrace of the Vampire to be, even though it's very old, but I feel like at that time and even now, I feel like it's definitely a part of that genre in a more modern sense. And just because it's so low budget and it's like, it's got those tropes of like exploitation of where it's like a really bad vampire knockoff of like films that were actually way better than this. And the budget is so bad, and the acting is terrible, and the writing is terrible, the direction is terrible. It's got times. There's times where the story is actually pretty decent. There's a thing of where she basically gets turned into a vampire. She's a college. Alyssa Milano plays this girl who's a freshman in college, and it's her first time being away from her family, and she doesn't know anybody. She's a very introverted person. She's very shy, and she has this like real. She grew up as a as a very religious Christian. She grew up in a very religious family, and she has this very deep sense of repression around her sexuality, and she pretty much had no experience as far as experimenting with an alternative lifestyle. And so her character has this very conservative view on sex and men and women. But she ends up getting bitten when she's at college. She gets bitten by this vampire who visits her. And she goes through this whole process of where she's like in complete denial of what happened. And slowly you start seeing her through these. She ends up having these like really lucid, strange, kind of trippy psychedelic dreams, and it eventually evolves to where she starts like having these desires, like these sexual desires that she had repressed for so long. And she eventually, when she comes to this realization of who she is now, she ends up acting out on them. And it's great. It's so great, but it's so terrible. And I don't have this on Blu-ray. I have this on DVD, but this would be a pretty sweet addition. I mean, I love this package. It doesn't have any, special features or anything, but for what it is and for what I paid for it, it's pretty good. It's, the quality's pretty good on the transfer for the DVD. And I got this. This is like an old, this edition probably came out maybe 15 years ago. So it's a pretty old standard DVD, but it's pretty good quality. And I only paid $2 for it, so it was great. But it would be pretty fabulous to find like a Blu-ray collection edition of this film that could maybe have like a bunch of like bonus features and interviews. That would be pretty sweet. But again, Embrace the Vampire, I guarantee, I kind of feel like it's one of the worst movies ever made, but yet I love it. So I don't know if that says a lot about me, but just great. So I highly recommend it. Embrace the Vampire if you get a chance. If you're in the mood for something completely brainless but yet really entertaining, and you get to see Alyssa Milano like she's never been, like she's never, if you know her from Who's the Boss and having this kind of real straight career, and then she does this movie, it's pretty amazing. So again, this is Jason Dean. Thank you again, and this is Jason Dean at Film Fanatic. So yeah, if you get a chance, check out the video and like and subscribe. Thank you. Have a great day.